This is across the board. They're going to come back in 5 to 10 days to that area and commit another crime, because for a few days they run and hide and they say, oh, it's hot there, we don't want to do anything. But because they had success, they will come back, especially with burglaries. A burglar will come back to the same area, but it's true about people that are robbing people too. So anyhow, they're both in the 2100 block of Pinehurst. And then we'd have some thefts at the Lifetime, which is on Ford Parkway. And if you have friends in Highland Park or in that area, Cleveland and Ford Parkway, they may not even know about this. The newspaper hasn't covered it yet. Actually, I talked to a newspaper reporter tonight, hoping that they were going to pick up and alert people to these. I mean, these are, serious assaults. This gentleman this morning was knocked really unconscious. Didn't remember everything even.
It's really important for neighbors to be aware of what's going on in their neighborhoods. That is one way in which social media has really been beneficial, because the word is getting out and people are becoming aware of what to watch for, what to be aware of, and some precautions they can take. And when the mainstream media gets involved in it too, it spreads the awareness anymore. It's all about being aware, all about taking care of your neighborhood and your neighbors.
Yeah, and these new apps like Nextdoor, Ring doorbell apps, I mean, there are a variety of ways people can keep up to speed and share. So many of the crimes we solve now are solved because of video that people have captured.
Oh, it's unreal. All of those apps are a huge aid to solving crimes the last few years.
Well, we miss O'Gara's. There, we just drove by. Oh my goodness, Danny O'Gara, his father Tim was such a wonderful guy. I just tell you, the O'Gara's there on that corner for all those years. What a great place to stop. And his dad became a friend of mine back in the 80s, and then the son actually continued the tradition. It's a great place for cops to stop too.
I had a rather memorable retirement party at O'Gara's in May of 2010, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah,
it was a great turnout, a great time. The O'Gara's are just the most gracious and wonderful hosts, and we really missed that spot.
Yeah. I miss the onion rings. I probably shouldn't always be talking about food, but onion ring. The burgers were phenomenal as well.
Oh, everything in there.
Yeah, they had a couple good deep fryers going all the time. So we're southbound on Stelling at Grand. This is McAllister College. Of course, I mentioned I went to Hamlin, so we always had a little competition between Hamlin and McAllister and MIAC Sports.
Just went by Coastal Seafoods there just the other day. I picked up 6 dozen oysters for an oyster feast with some friends and I. And great place to get seafood, Coastal Seafoods.
My wife would love that. Or just a walleye guy, Cajun catfish, my personal favorite. So we're down here at St. Clair. Now it's the pizzeria now, but in the old days it was the St. Clair Broiler. Great place to stop.
Yeah, I haven't been here, but I sure did love the St. Clair Broiler.
Really, this whole corner, if you just drive by, it's just so beautiful down here, the way they've taken Snelling and St. Clair and turned it into a kind of a Grand Avenue, feel to it. Which, being on a main street, isn't that easy to do. Same way with Selby and Snelling.
A lot of great shops, both intersections.
So if you this water tower in Highland Park, I think it's only open 2 days a year, maybe even one up here. But
back out at 142 Roby, apartment number 1. States that the X showed up.
142 Roby, that's on the west side. That's a VOOP, is violation of an order for protection. But what I was going to say is this water tower up ahead here in Highland Park, it's a great tour, unbelievable view from the top. I try to get there once a year just to enjoy the view over Highland Park. I don't remember how many steps it is, but even a guy like me can make that. So.
Well, that gives me hope.
Yeah, it's quite a historical building. People know more about it. Feel free to throw it on the comments for the other viewers. We're going to go down on Pinehurst here in a minute. We're going to figure out what the MO of this group is.
The city has so much history, so many beautiful landmarks.
And by the way, we did get one kind person offer to buy pizza for the young lads that we might run into. So that was when we started earlier. I'm not sure how many pizza places are actually open, but stand by, because if we do get a chance to buy pizza for some kids to build some relationships, we're going to do that. And I got your number in the text book. And if anybody else wants to volunteer, we just got to make sure we only have one person. There's the water tower right there. The top. And we're going to go down Ford Parkway. Well, this is going to be terrible. I wish my mother was actually listening. Because one of these two apartment buildings right here was where I was first raised, my first year. I think it's 1600. I think it's the first one. It could be this one. 1610. This is where I got the address in my history book. 1620. These are the apartments that I was raised in when I was little, before my parents moved out into Maplewood, right here in Highland Park.
No kidding.
Yeah. My dad was going to school to be I think I might have told the story how he came back from the Korean War, and when he got off the boat, he said, "Dee Dee, we're getting married." He used the GI Bill to go to school at the university.
Break for a DOC 1271 Sylvan. Originally came in as a 25 to 30-year-old female that was screaming outside. Additional caller now sees a car ramming an SUV and is unable to provide a description. Sees a male pounding on the window.
That's up at Sylvan in Maryland. We're pretty far away from there. But he used the GI Bill in order to go get his engineering degree. And then while he was finishing up school, my mom and him got married, and then they had me, and that's where we lived.
I'll take that
right
medical before you can cancel 6.
First year before he moved to Maplewood.
I've known you 40 years, and I'm finding out more about you on these live feeds than I ever knew.
Yeah. People say I never knew you were born. You were born in Highland Park. Because most of my life is on the east side in Maplewood. I was transplanted Highland Park. But this Ford Parkway is a beautiful street. This whole neighborhood, and of course with the new development, I'm sure it's going to be even better as they develop that Ford site there.
Oh yeah.
162190.
That has great potential to bring a lot to this neighborhood.
You're welcome, 145.
I don't know, did we go by Tiffany's yet?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Tiffany's is coming up. What a great neighborhood spot.
I think Blake Montpettit, is he still on that?
I'm not sure. But it is a great spot.
So here we
it's
are
a landmark.
in the village, Highland Village. So
There's
there's
Tiffany's.
Tiff's. Let's take a little tour over there, see how everybody's doing. Seems like they're having a good time.
Straight to.
So we are going to go up to, well, I'm actually going to drive down here a little further first, but we're going to check out Pinehurst after we get to Lifetime.
I can't remember it, but just ahead here on the right, just past Cleveland on Ford Parkway, there was a disco when I first came to town.
There was, you're right. After it was modeled after the one downtown and came out here. Studio 94 was downtown.
Was it
Pudge's,
Pudge's, was it?
Well, Pudge's was a bar. Yeah, I don't know if it was a disco. But
28728.
so we're in the Western District, which means all of our calls are right there for us are on the
9858.
on the channel 1. You'll hear the 100 calls. These are all 100 calls.
There's
So
the
here's a
Lifetime.
Lifetime Fitness. And see, there's the dead end of 10. So we're going to try to figure out the MO. My theory is they park in that ramp because Lifetime is open till 10 o'clock at night. I'm going to turn around. And it opens at 5 o'clock in the morning. So when suspects are looking for a way to have some cover as to why they are where they are.
Squad to assist on a medical at 6 and Cedar for a slumber, southbound 6 and a white SUV.
So they could park in this Lifetime ramp.
I'm going to break and go to the AMA.
Anytime Lifetime is open,
Receive.
they would be allowed to get free parking for a while here. And then you could walk into the neighborhood right here on these two paths. Actually,
I'm going to recover the car.
I'm going to drive down these alleys because these alleys give access to where the two crimes were. What's the number here we got here, Patty?
2130.
21. Well, there you have it. 2134. This is where the guy was right here. 2136 that got robbed when he was delivering papers. All right. So it's secluded back here, not a lot of cameras. If I was a criminal, I'd say this is as good of an opportunity to victimize a person as anywhere. So if you got friends in Highland Park, let them know this alley here, just north of Lifetime Fitness.
Copy.
I'm going to turn around, check the other way.
Stand by, we'll check.
We en route shortly on a bicycle.
Remember, long blocks are 60 numbers.
Checking for a county squad with an IBIS. Checking this is Maplewood at the Maplewood Mall.
IBIS is a fingerprint machine that allows you to, yeah, my flashlight there, Pat? Allows you to identify somebody remotely.
Copy, thank you. I'll send you the call.
So 2136, here's where this gentleman was robbed delivering papers. At the 2110 address, where the
4492 Tango, squad 2164 from county is en route to assist with an IBIS.
So 2136 is one way in the alley. And this is a little walkway out to the front we just passed. And then the other victim here, right here, was 2110. Now these guys walked to the side of the house when they robbed them. We'll go back out the front. So they could have easily walked to the front of the house from that little opening.
Is there a DRE that's come to my location?
And then when they leave, they have a
Taking for an available DRE to 6 and Cedar.
they have a multitude of directions to flee when they take off out of here.
Yeah.
They're a minute from Minneapolis.
510, checking your set.
Are you available to help on Central?
Well, obviously, we're going to have some conversations
No one
with
came out yet.
the police department
Are there
about
any DREs on the air?
how we can help stop these. But in the meantime, if you know people that live on Pinehurst,
2150.
some of them might have video cameras. We're going to check the cameras from the Lifetime at some point here soon. Assuming my theory is right, which who knows.
Yep.
Right? So, again, this is a little beautiful walkway to get to Highland Village.
If there's a man down in front of the church. 288,
But unfortunately,
2 minutes of wrapping up here and head that way.
sometimes these access points are used for nefarious purposes. So, yeah, please let your friends in Highland Village know. And we have, in that parking ramp, we have had thefts as well. So that's the thing. These suspects aren't afraid just to break into cars. And drive. We're going to take a look at that ramp real quick just to see if we got any cameras in their pit.
Oh, good idea.
He also made a false report at Speedway.
It seems more and more the young criminals are willing to do just about anything opportunistically. Whatever comes up in the way of something to steal or something to do, they'll do it. Whereas when we came on, if you were a burglar, you were a burglar. If you were a robber, you were a robber. If you're an auto thief, you're an auto thief.
That's a good point. Well, and the other thing about this age is, and Melvin Carter Jr., the mayor's dad, always made this point when I was working with him and crime prevention programs, SOS, that these kids don't think about the consequences.
No.
And that's
989 will on for large aerial patrol.
well, let's see if we see cameras in here. And I don't know that we're going to even get in, but let's just see what happens. Well, my guess is if you're a Lifetime member, you scan there, you get in. See what happens if we push the button. Yeah, Lifetime members. Lifetime members. Scan here for access to the parking garage. It's, and they're, like I said, they close at 10 and they open at 5. Old card here. Let's see what happens if I push this button.
Additional caller, 14 to 16 shots.
Alright, we're going to go in, just take a look and see if we find any cameras in here. It's hard to believe places don't have cameras, but it's surprising how many actually don't. That goes to the Fairview Clinic. No luck yet?
Not seeing any yet. I'd like to think there were cameras.
This is what investigators have to do. Both Pat and I have worked as investigators. You see a crime, you re-interview the victim, you know, look for any evidence that you can, try to theorize how the crime occurred. You know, you develop 3 or 4 different options. It's not like you stick on one little option, but you know, we do try to outthink the suspects. And then you go see what you can find, any cameras or any video anywhere. And all right, we are up on top, but we have not seen a camera, right?
No, we have not.
So So at 5 o'clock, I assume the crowd starts coming in to go to Lifetime. And the suspects could park and then just walk into the neighborhood.
Squad 525.
Or park here
525.
late in the evening.
Talking with the possible caller, you're saying that the people got up and left.
Must have closed at 9 tonight. I don't know. It closes at 9 some nights and 10 other nights. Well, there are
37 straight there.
still a couple cars here, though. They might still go.
They were a 24-hour operation the last time I belonged to
Yeah.
Lifetime.
Yeah, they were a 24-hour operation the last time I was there, too, but they were never open when I wanted to go.
That's the excuse I'm going to use, too.
Hey, is the club still open? 5 minutes. All right, thank you. We're just making a swing through. I gotta make sure I got a credit card. I think I gave my credit card to my son today. I might have another one.
You got it?
Hopefully they won't charge us much for the short time we're in here.
5181.
All right, put that in there.
5185 single.
1755, turn around to Charlie for a 911 hang up.
There we go.
Oh, yeah, we got all three.
Static in the background.
5181 copy over.
There is a camera right there at the exit. That's the only one I've seen.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah,
Bingo.
we'll
Maybe
spot their car coming out.
Yeah, and maybe catch them walking out, you know, into the neighborhood too.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
That's good. Well, that's the only camera we saw, but it's right there at the exit, the entrance. So we will pull that video, make sure St. Paul does. See what we got for those 2 times. All right, and we'll head back into the areas with more calls.
Yeah, I'm McCoven, 229 November, Kilo Victor.
Your phone plugged in, or can I borrow that white one?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
4489 Tango, copy with the squad to assist at CBS at 2196 Whitefield Avenue North, covering entry and exit motion.
2196 Viper Avenue, CVS. I think it's S. I don't know.
Copy, thank you.
My wife always says I say CVX. CVS. Alarm there. But they're just closing up, so it's probably just a misset alarm.
Arriving. 2168.
Beautiful night. The humidity's starting to go down a little bit now.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. When it first started, it was pretty humid. So back east on Ford Parkway.
Dairy Queen still in here?
Oh,
there it is.
Here a little further. Oh, yeah.
There it is, right
Yeah.
there. Used to be my grandson's hangouts.
Really?
Yes.
Copy at
So
2159.
your son worked in the comm center for a number of years, right? How many
Yes,
years?
he did.
How many years?
He must have been there in the vicinity of 10, 12 years.
10, 12, yeah.
And now he's a light rail transit supervisor.
That's over.
Yeah, that's a tough job. I was talking to the supervisor of the comm center today, one of them, and they're just saying these times are just stressful with the COVID.
Affirmative.
How long has it been pending?
Been pending about 2 hours.
Alright, he's still here waiting. Is there a squad available if I can break the access thing?
Here's a vehicle squad.
And my oldest daughter's a patient advocate for
Medium bell, by the name.